Generation X can be cinematically defined by a sequence of movies from the 1980s that included The Outsiders, Reckless, 16 Candles, The Karate Kid, The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, and Say Anything. In honor of the 40th anniversary release of The Breakfast Club, I'm going to make a separate video just for the Mount Rushmore of teenage flicks. Check back to the Tough Kid channel in a few days. And as always, we ask that you please support the Tough Kid channel by hitting the like button, sharing the video, and subscribing if you haven't already. You can also watch our videos on Rumble and follow us on Facebook. Check the description field below for that information. We thank you. Today, some of the films might seem cliche, even formulaic, but they are brutally honest in their portrayal of the teenage Generation Xer. Three major themes emerge. First, we are all outsiders and underdogs who faced exclusionary cliques and bullying from our peers. Second, parental presence was rare, so it was left up to us kids to resolve conflict. And lastly, we all needed to endure life-scarring slashes of physical pain, humiliation, and loneliness in order to eventually earn our personal victories. Every single Generation X movie stays true to those themes. Let's start out with the 1983 movie The Outsiders, adapted from the S.E. Hinton novel. Like the other Generation X films, this one was about cliques and social status, pitting the privileged Socs versus the poor greasers, who literally lived on the other side of the tracks. Greasers Ponyboy and Johnny Cade fall in love with pretty girl Soc, Cherry Valance, but she goes with the popular rich kid Randy. The night before the big rumble, Randy invites Ponyboy inside his new Ford Mustang for a conversation. It is then that Ponyboy and Randy begin to see each other as individuals rather than as representatives of rival gangs. Adults are hardly ever seen in our Generation X movies. Kids just seem to work things out for themselves. And violence is often a key factor in bringing people closer in the end. Of course, things didn't work out too well for Johnny in the end.
Let's do it for Johnny, man. We'll do it for Johnny.
Let's do it for Johnny, man. Let's do it for Johnny. Then there was Aidan Quinn and Daryl Hannah in 1984's Reckless. She was Tracy, who dated the popular quarterback Randy, but she was secretly attracted to the social misfit Johnny Rourke, who also lived on the other side of the tracks and would drive his motorcycle through the hallway at school. The climactic ending ends with a fight in the home ec room between Johnny and Randy.
I need you to come with me and to do everything with me and to feel everything with me.
This is some pretty romantic stuff here.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Uh-oh.
You know, I am so tired of your fucking bullshit act.
There's Randy, the boyfriend.
Can you just leave us alone for a minute?
No, this is
Gonna
nothing
be
to do
trouble.
with you. This is between me and him. There's nothing between me and you. There sure as shit is.
Generation X movie, where the hell all the adults? Where the teachers? None to be found. We resolved our conflicts like we were the adults.
Randy, come on, his father just died.
Yeah, he was so drunk he fell right in with the slag.
You never attack a man's family. And she runs for help. Everyone arrives to break it up. 1,000 kids in the school, one teacher. He runs outside. Now this is the weirdest thing. He runs outside. Where does his motorcycle come from? Like, where does he keep it? And he's gonna call her out and say, "You coming with me or aren't you?"
Tracy! Tracy! Come on!
Johnny screaming to Tracy, "Come on!"
Come on!
Sounds a lot like, "Let's do it for Johnny."
Are you with me or not? Tracy, I love you.
Does she get on the motorcycle or doesn't she get on the motorcycle? What do you think, man? This is Generation X. The underdog always wins. She gets her ass on that motorcycle, and they drive right out of that school, right down the hallway. This is realism at its best. Maybe one of the greatest us versus the world scenes ever. I remember thinking as a teenager, man, this is so cool, romantic, badass. Now I just think, now that they're homeless, where do they shower and brush their teeth in the morning? And as a complete aside, in most of our movies, Johnny is always the unpopular good guy, and Randy is always the asshole. Just saying. Yes. Generation X and freedom. Next is The Karate Kid from 1984. Beautiful and popular Allie goes out with pretty boy, blonde tough kid, Johnny. So this time Johnny is the bad guy if you're keeping score at home. But she falls for the unpopular Daniel LaRusso. He takes her out, he kisses her, and then he gets his ass kicked. Enter Mr. Miyagi. Once again, the movie is about the poor kid, the loner, who is bullied, beaten, and battered, but in the end, triumphs through all the adversity. The alienated underdog who comes out on top. This is his Tough Kid Central. 16 Candles, also from 1984, has Molly Ringwald playing Samantha, the lonely girl who is so invisible and neglected that her family forgets her birthday. She is saved by the handsome Jake, which is almost like John. Another quirky aside for our Generation X films was the third character used as comic relief. We see that with Anthony Michael Hall in 16 Candles, and later with John Cryer as Ducky in Pretty in Pink. I couldn't stand that kid. Molly Ringwald stars again in The Breakfast Club, only this time she's the popular Claire and falls for the angry, misunderstood loner named, you guessed it, John Bender. Growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we all knew a John Bender. Played masterfully by Judd Nelson, Bender represents teenage alienation and anger at its most profound, as the audience gets a glimpse into why certain kids resort to self-destructive behavior. Hints of parental abuse, along with problems with authority figures in general, makes John Bender a relatable underdog that you rooted for. Our last film stars John Cusack in 1989's Say Anything. Cusack plays a blue-collar schlub named Lloyd Dobler, and he courts the intelligent, smart Diana Court against her father's will. In the end, Lloyd's efforts pay off in this classic scene of triumph where he holds the boombox over his head to play their song, and she comes running. So there you have it, the films that define Generation X. If you want to add a film of your own, please do so in the comment section down below, and I'll leave you with this final, last reflection. Nobody protected us Generation Xers from emotional pain, from loneliness and rejection. Nobody cared about our feelings, whether that be our teachers or our parents. Maybe that's why our movies always had that underdog winning against all odds tone to it. Today's teens live in a socially engineered and unrealistic world of overprotective adults, school counselors, and zero-tolerance policies. Who did we have looking out for us? Well, in the end, we just had each other. And because our feelings were not spared, we grew up more motivated to change our status and to persevere. Just look at some of these iconic photos. They all express the same emotion, triumph over adversity. Until next time, Tough Kid Nation, always remember that back is the way forward.